Well, good afternoon everybody and welcome back to my channel. This is Lee, channel's Virtual Airline Pilot. I'm a former worker at Gatwick and you are looking at Gatwick International Airport Echo Golf Kilo Kilo. The version we're looking at is the freeware version by MKVY. He's listed as, doesn't show his name. And this is the latest version 9.9.9 step fix, which was released on the 12th of August. The reason I'm going to review this is because really I've got two reasons. Firstly, I've used his version of Gatwick ever since I started flying flights in 2020 and finally managed to get the Airbus flying. It's a stunning piece of work for freeware. It's Payware quality, clearly. And I needed to do a review because it's just such a fantastic airport. And the second reason is, as some of you know, there is a new version, Payware version, coming out by a Payware developer at some point very shortly, and it would be nice to compare this with the new version when it comes out. And also, as a former Gatwick worker myself, I've worked in airport security for over nearly 11 years at Gatwick and retired in 2019. I know the airport quite well. It would be nice to compare the two versions with reality as well. So you're looking at Gatwick, as I say. It was updated in August the 12th. It's had nearly 75,000 downloads. It's a huge download and a fantastic piece of work for freeware. The download is 1.4 gigabytes and it installs at 3.6 gigs. And currently, as of today, August the 18th, it is compatible with update 5. He's done a load of updates and fixes, various bits and pieces, including, for example, the ILS alignment, which was corrected by changing the magnetic variation and updating that. He's added snow plows, only two types of vehicle at the moment, but he's constantly working on this. And as you can see, the photogrammetry looks really good. You've got the train, the Gatwick train that goes into the train station. The blast screens are in the right place, and the little road that I used to cross many times. I often used to work in one of two places. I worked for external security, so we looked after everything outside the terminals, and we had two control posts, one down here called Southern Approach and one in the central area called Northern Approach. And very often on Southern Approach I would get in the vehicle and drive down this road here, past the runway, across this crossing and into the central area and head around for the canteen, usually in the North Terminal, which is where we were based. Here's the North Terminal. And somewhere not far, pretty much right next to the fuel farm, around about there, is Northern Approach Security, which we had a multi-lane entrance there for vehicles. Our job was to search staff, air crews and contractors and vehicles coming into the airside area, as opposed to passengers. We also did handle the VIP suite, the Sussex suite, which was located down here somewhere. So there we are, looking southwest, and here's the British Airways hangar on the south side of the airport. And our base was here. This I think is what is Southern Approach, and there used to be an aircraft parked down here, an old DC-9 that was bought, or basically claimed, from an Italian airline that went defunct because they couldn't pay their landing charges and their storage fees. So we grabbed the aircraft, ripped out all the bits that could be sold and kept the shell, and we used to drive past it every morning. So let's do some history. Gatwick Airport is the second major international airport in the UK. It's located in Crawley in West Sussex, 29 miles or 47 kilometres south of central London. It's the second busiest by passenger traffic and the 10th busiest in Europe. The aerodrome was opened in the 1920s. Commercial flights began in 1933. You've got two terminals, the North and the South Terminal, and the airport operates a single runway operation. It has two runways, as you can see, but the southern runway, the main runway, 26 left, 08 right, is the one that's mainly used. The northern runway is used as an emergency runway or a taxiway, or is brought into operation when the main runway can't be used for some reason. 1935, the first terminal was built, and that was called the Beehive. and scheduled services began in that terminal a year later in 1936. So from there on there was major development in the 1950s to bring it up to international standard. By 1960, British United Airways, then known as BUA, and Dan Air were two of the largest carriers. BUA, British United Airways, became the dominant carrier, and Dan Air became the dominant charter operator. Not so long thereafter, the government encouraged charters to move from Heathrow to Gatwick. BUA was taken over ultimately by British Caledonian, and those airlines became the dominant airlines in the 1970s. 1980s, BCAL was overtaken by British Airways. Dan Air and Air Europe were the dominant scheduled short-haul carriers, and BA, British Airways, as it was, became the long-haul scheduled carrier from Gatwick. By 1990, you had the demise of Dan Air and Air Europe, and BA was building Gatwick as their second hub. Their main hub was obviously Heathrow. BA became the dominant airline at Gatwick until it decided to de-hub Gatwick not so long thereafter, allowing EasyJet to become the dominant airline. EasyJet have something like 250 to 300 flights a day under normal operations, and essentially 40% of the flights operated by EasyJet out of Gatwick. It became the dominant airline. The British Airports Authority, or BAA in various forms, owned and operated Gatwick from 1966 to 2009. I joined in 2009, just before BAA sold the airport to Global Infrastructure Partnership, or GIP. It was sold for 1.51 million, which was a steal in my opinion. They got it for a song, but then Heathrow did exactly the same. Ferrovial bought Heathrow for a song. It was very, very undervalued, and a lot of us were a little bit annoyed at the fact that BAA sold us out, but that's another story. October 2009, as I said, Gatwick was sold to Global Infrastructure Partnership for 1.51 million, and that deal was completed in December 2009, by which time I'd been at the airport about 3.5 months. Some unusual facts: the airport has Anglican, Catholic and free church chaplains all on site, and there's a multi-faith prayer room for people to use as well. So facts and figures for the airport runway. Okay, they have two runways, as we've said, 26 left, 08 right. The main one, which you're looking at now, is 3,255 meters, or 10,679 feet. That's available takeoff distance determined by the CAA. The runway is actually longer than that. You can see there's a displaced threshold. There's actually a displaced threshold at both ends, but these are official figures given by the CAA. So it's, as I said, 3,255 meters. That's available takeoff distance when you're taking off towards the west, 26 left, which is the preferred runway direction here. Essentially the UK gets bombarded by westerly winds, so many runways in the UK, certainly in the south, are angled east-west. Heathrow has 27 left and right, Gatwick has 26. So the west 26 left is the preferred runway use direction. 08 right is used when the wind exceeds 4 knots from the east. Runway 08 right, takeoff distance available as allocated by the CAA is 3,159 meters, or 10,364 feet. Both runways are equipped with ILSs and RNAV equipped, and the northern runway has surveillance radar approach as well. Northern runway is used only as a taxiway, and as I said, is only basically brought into operation as an emergency or when 26 left can't be used. During 2019, when they were doing runway works during the night and I was on duty, the runway was closed from about 11:30 p.m. and you had flights, TUI flights and various flights coming in till about 3 a.m. that would use the northern runway for landing, and that was fun to watch. There's an insufficient gap as determined for simultaneous runway operations use, and that's another reason why they don't use both runways. Although Gatwick did have, or does have, plans for an additional runway or some kind of expansion. Gatwick Airport security the airport's looked after by the Gatwick division of the Sussex Police. I used to know a couple of them, a really nice bunch of people that are available both inside and outside the airport, and with external security, which I was a member of, we had quite a good relationship with them, and we would often encounter them on our patrols. A huge amount of fence line surrounding the airport as determined by the Department of Transport, and we have to patrol that. So as I say, Gatwick External Security looked after the airport. Everything outside of the terminals not connected with passengers, we did the security for. The only exception to that is that we looked after the VIP suite, the Sussex suite, which we'll have a look at if we can find it in the scenery. We used to operate that on an infrequent basis when VIPs such as Prince Edward and Fergie and various people like that, and commercially important passengers, CIPs, used to come through there too. Some statistics: Gatwick is host or plays host to up to 39 airlines. Passenger figures for 2019 before COVID hit, we processed 46.5 million passengers, which was a record for the single runway airport. And we had 282,896 aircraft movements that year, so it was a busy airport. That's a mixture of scheduled and charter flights as well. We had scheduled flights out of the airport. So not so long ago, during the building of the airport, you'll see that the original control tower down here was replaced and a new one was built. I never actually managed to go in there, but some of my colleagues did and said it was fantastic. Here is the Virgin hangar, and in this little corner here we had a security post. One of our jobs was to monitor aircraft coming out of the hangar, and we used to search the tug and towing crew because this was considered landside, and as they crossed that line they were airside, so they were searched. The tug was searched. Aircraft was searched by a private company, and we would search the tug and the crew before they then towed the aircraft out here and back into the airport. Very shortly before I left, work was completed on the new Boeing hangar, as you can see here. Big enough to house two 787 Dreamliners side by side. I watched a lot of that building work from this little box. We used to call it Hangar 7, but it was on the Virgin site, and we could see this going up really, really fast. Here you've got the cargo area. We have a control post somewhere down here as well, where we used to search the drivers and tug drivers towing the cargo out onto the airfield for the aircraft. Cargo itself was searched by other means. So anyway, lots going on. I don't want to bore you too much with the facts and figures, but it's just a grandstand look at this amazing scenery that this guy's done, and to tell you some facts and figures. So let's try and get down there and have a look and take you through what is part of this scenery, how extensive it is. So thank you for joining me. I hope this you're going to enjoy this, and I'll try and enlighten you as far as I can. So let's get into it. So here we are at the northern end of the North Terminal, stand 574. It's midday, no weather, so you can get a good look at how the detail is. To the left there you'll see the airside road. This is a road I used to travel down very often when I went from Northern Approach back to the central area to go and get breakfast or dinner. So let's just pan across the front of the North Terminal. You can have a look at some of the detail. Clearly you can see he's gone to huge lengths here. You've got the green safety walkways here. Staff members were required to use this route. If we were found walking outside of this, we could be in pretty serious trouble. As you can see, the stand markings are really excellent. They're crisp. Pretty much everything that should be here is here, right down to the fuel emergency cut-off button. and you've also got the stand entry guidance system, or AGNIS, as well. And one of the other things I like about this, let's move across a little bit, is the not just the detail on the ramps, but he's actually got the colouring of the building correctly, and the sort of the way the building is structured. Here you've got a ground power unit and the fire safety thing. Jetway's got, look, excuse my aircraft there, I normally park on stand 568 when I'm departing here in the sim and when I'm online with VATSIM, but you can see the stand detail here is excellent. It's really incredible. Very sharp, detailed. It's done a huge amount of work. The taxiways and the aprons are just really excellent. Everything's done right down to the really small details like this here. And recently in the new update you've got the hydrants here where the fuel bowser comes along, connects to the hydrant and connects to the airplane, and basically fuels up the aircraft. There's the fuel farm over there, which stores all the fuel. I just thought I'd have a quick look from inside out. Obviously there's no development inside the terminals. He has his reasons why, and to be honest, with the detail that exists outside, I can forgive him for that. But I just thought I'd pop in and see what it looks like, and you can see the outside through the glass. Still an excellent job. Still an absolutely excellent job. So just a closer look at the fuel farm for you. There's an awful lot to see in this airport scenery, so I'll try to get through it and show you as much as I can without boring the hell out of you. But it is a massive scenery, or a massive update to an original airport. Okay, you've got lots of photogrammetry here, which is perfectly okay. Forgive him for that. He's just developed so much. It's pretty incredible. Right, just something interesting for you. Here is Northern Approach Security. Obviously it's not very detailed, it's been pictured from above, but essentially vehicles, staff and all sorts of various bits and pieces come up landside here, up this road. And then we've got four lanes, three one side, building in the middle, and another lane on the other side, and they go through search and then they come out and they go into airside here and go down this road. Here's a DHL building, which I know pretty well. We used to go in there and get our milk. So here's the passenger bridge, one of the very famous things that Gatwick has, high enough to allow a 747 and an A380 to pass underneath totally unhindered. Excellent. And here you can see he's even done the passenger conveyor walkways that are inside the building, which is a nice touch. The flooring is excellent and accurate. It really does look like that. Very impressed. So here we are on the Kilo Crossing, or what's known as the Kilo Crossing. It's right under the big passenger bridge. One of the things I wanted to look at here is to see if the crossing and the lighting system has been replicated, and it has. The only thing that's missing are the red warning signs sitting on top of those lights. Basically you have a set of amber and red lights that flash, and on top of it there's a warning sign, a red sign with white lettering that says give way to aircraft. And essentially this is a road crossing that crosses a live taxiway, and that's why you have the lighting. And I just really wanted to see if the taxiway had been properly defined, and it has. It's got the stop bar, it's got the hatched lines on the side of the taxiway crossing itself, and it has the warning lights. The only thing that's missing is the wording, but that's not a problem. So over there in the distance here you've got airfield operations here. This is the fire station, which we'll have a look at in a bit, and here's the new control tower. And that Kilo Crossing extends. There you can see it extends to the southern part of the airfield, and you've got additional stands and buildings here on the just north of the northern runway. Today we're looking towards the satellite building and the additional stands here. Pier 2 I think it is. I very often used to go in here because when I fly to the Ukraine to see my friends, Ukraine International Airlines, usually park up here either side. And here you've got the satellite pier. We'll go and take a look at that. So just wanted to show you this quickly before we look at the satellite pier. There to the left you can see the interterminal transfer train. It's very accurate. Obviously the logos and what the painting is on it does tend to vary. EasyJet was plastered all over it for a while. British Airways was on that before it. Now it's just a blue train, but it's an elevated transit train, takes 2 minutes, goes between the north and south terminal. The other thing I was impressed with here, he's included the blast wall. I drive along the other side of it. There's an airside road, goes all the way down to the central area. So this blast wall here is absolutely accurate. It's concrete and it's folded just like that. You've got bends in it. So very impressed with that. And again, the blast screens are in the right place and they're accurate. So let's just have a little pan across the satellite terminal. It's just so much to show you here. The detail is incredible, just amazing. Again, you've got the green walkways, safe walkways that we're supposed to use, the line-up bits and pieces, the lights, and then the new hydrant connections. Everything here, right down to the stand telephone. This is an emergency telephone, and the fuel shut-off valve. That basically you get a fire or a major problem or a spillage, you go straight down and hit the fuel shut-off valve. Make sure that you don't have anything happen there. It's just really excellent. Look at the detail here. So just showing you the inside there of the satellite. There used to be a duty-free shop in there. There used to be times when we would occasionally go into the terminal and help out the terminal staff doing their patrols. So some detail here, but obviously some of the shops and bits and pieces are missing. But it's really not a problem. Such an amazing project here. Again, a really lovely view outside the terminal, looking out. So again, just a look at the satellite and the pier leading to it. And this is all so accurate. The colour, the building colour, shapes. There you can see the moving transit that goes between the two terminals. It's excellent. So just to look across the hotel, I just wanted to show you the train coming in and out. Looks quite nice. You've got a mixture of photogrammetry ground textures here and the buildings that he's done. And I like the fact that they've got here, all of this is just so instantly recognisable. I used to drive out of this road all the way away from Gatwick and down onto the A23. Sometimes I'd use this method if I was at Southern Approach working, rather than going straight out on the motorway spur because it was busy. Just follow the train in, have a look in the train station. And there you go. Very simplified, nothing developed, but it's really not a problem. For me it works. It's just great. And there you had a quick look inside. Just looking back across the airport, you can see the two trains going between the two terminals. The photogrammetry looks acceptable. Obviously there's not been a lot of development, interior development and detail and stuff in things like the train station or the terminals and things like that. It's all pretty basic and around the airport. But you have to remember, number one, this is a freeware project that's basically being developed by one single guy in his own time. and the rest of the airport detail is just so good. I think I think he can be forgiven for not looking to the other sort of detail that you might expect from some of the Payware developers. So there you've got the landside road. This is actually shut off now. You can't actually drive through here. You can only come down this road as far as this area here. They've stopped this for security reasons. And here you've got the railway station and the landside car park and the footbridge that goes into the terminal. There's a hotel there. There's also the Hilton Hotel somewhere. Can't remember exactly where it is. Don't think I ever really went in there. So there you can see he's got the trains. Even the train is done correctly. It's the right colour, the right type. So it's very, very good. Again, fairly basic station, but it's there, and the train is accurate. So just a quick look landside there, so you can see the train and also the myriad of car parking space that we have here. So back on the airfield ramp again. There's so much detail here. It's absolutely stunning. Okay, you've got a little anomaly there, which I'm sure he will fix. Again, you've got taxiway crossing here. I've used this a few times when coming from Northern Approach as an alternative. If I fancied to look around the airfield and see what was going on, I would come across from Northern Approach from the Virgin hangar. There's a crossing that goes across. In fact, we'll follow the route in reverse that I used to take, and you can see for yourself. So this crossing bisects two taxiways. And here you've got more stands as well. Parking there for Gatwick Airport Limited, which was the company I worked for, which is owned by GIP, Global Infrastructure Partnership, who basically bought the airport from the BAA, the British Airports Authority, in 2009. So again, the taxiway crossing here bisects two taxiways, and we're now coming down towards the fire station and airfield ops. So there you see the taxiway. The crossing there goes in. So let's have a quick look at the fire station. Again, that's as it looks, just as I remember it. And there are two of the big Scorpion fire tenders, or three of them, one inside the hangar there and two outside. The Gatwick Airport Fire and Rescue Service obviously is a requirement. Gatwick is a Category 7 airport and therefore requires 24-hour fire cover. The logo there was actually designed by the fire service guys themselves. They came up with the design and that became their logo. And here was the airfield operations building, which hasn't been fully developed yet, but it's recognisable. I know where it is, and that's pretty much where it should be. There you can see some of the snow vehicles, just the two types that he said, the long ones, which I can never remember the names of these, and the other ones. There's a whole Gal spent something like 6 or 7 million on snow cover vehicles after we had bad snow some years ago. Haven't needed to use any since then, but they're kept working all year round, and many of the guys from airside security, from external security that I was with, hold licenses to operate these vehicles, and they go out even in the summer to spend an hour just driving around a vehicle and keeping it going and keeping their driving skills current. And for anybody who's interested, it's not shown, but right here was a vending caravan. Basically, you go up here and you could buy they were open between 6 a.m. I think 7 a.m. and 2 p.m. only, pretty much every day, but you could phone them as well and put an order through, or you come up here, literally park your vehicle and go up there, and you could buy the most wonderful sausage, egg and chips in a baguette, and all sorts of silly things like that, tea and coffee, Coke. It was wonderful. I can't remember for the life of me what it is. If I remember what it is, I'll put the name up. But it was a white, kind of like a caravan there with no entrance open, and the girls would cook in there and do the most marvellous bacon and sausages and eggs and stick them in a baguette for you. So what you can see here is the EasyJet hangar. Now these hangars are temporary put-ups. I mean, they're solid enough and they're perfectly okay, but they're not solid buildings as such. They're prefabs that were put up there, and EasyJet use them for maintenance. They bring their aircraft in there at night and do all their maintenance. What isn't shown here is the cargo security post, where we would work and we would search the tug drivers towing the cargo dollies out of cargo when they used to go airside to deliver them to flights, and they would bring cargo back, and that cargo goes in to the freight area, but when cargo's going out, comes to our post, and we would search them. So here we are looking towards the Virgin hangar, which is actually landside. This is the road that goes landside of the Virgin hangar, and there's also, this used to be Tower Gate. This used to be where we had a control post, which still exists. There are gates here, but the building is used by a cleaning company. I think this was closed a while ago when my company decided to operate two main search posts, Northern Approach and Southern Approach, which I've talked to you about before. But I used to operate this many years ago when we first started. And this road goes all the way up and round the corner there, and you've got Rendezvous Point North just down the road here, which is the emergency rendezvous point. Whenever they get an emergency on the runway, all the fire service and everybody turns up here. Well, the fire service is usually airside anyway, but you get ambulances and police come bombing up this road, blue lights on, and one of our chaps goes and opens the gates, and when the emergency is over, they all disappear again. So let's go look at the Virgin hangar from the ramp side. So here we're on the Virgin apron. This is effectively airside, however it's not in the restricted zone, because this is an apron where no search is required here. Certainly not by us. They have entry gates from the road there, and they have a private security company that documents people going in and out through a barrier system. Any aircraft that need searching prior to coming out, they get searched by that company, and we search the tug drivers and the tug that tows it out. The only problem with this is that on the other side, the building is not quite as light as she's showing it. It's a lot darker now. I mean, in fact, and it's fallen a little bit into disrepute right now because Virgin vacated it and left Gatwick during the pandemic. There's the old control tower, which is still there and still available should it be necessary. And just one little insignificant thing I wanted to show you here was our security box, where we all used to sit and read the paper or watch things on our phones, waiting for things to come out of the hangar before we would come out, walk across the ramp and search them. The duty was called Hangar 7, and I spent many happy hours out here watching videos and reading books during the days and night shifts. And we would search maybe anywhere between 1 and 3 aircraft and tug drivers a day, And here you've got the Tango taxiway that goes out onto the airfield. And this is the line that denotes the apron from the airside or restricted area. Just as importantly, completed not long before I left, here's the new Boeing hangar that was built and big enough to house 2 Dreamliners. Again, in this case the colour is right. It was pretty much a white building, and it went up very fast. I remember it going up very fast. So not much done inside, but obviously a few bits and pieces to there to let you know that it is actually a freight hangar. Sorry, a maintenance hangar. So there we are, looking along the Juliet taxiway here, which goes all the way down to the threshold of 08 right, which is this runway here. Here you've got the northern runway, which is used as an emergency runway or a taxiway. And here you can see the fire training ground. This is where the fire service come down here. Usually they light this aircraft up at least once a month and practice their fire skills. And as you can see, it's been quite nicely replicated. So here you can see, just to give you an idea, the lighting on the ramp is very good, and the signage, he's done a really good job in getting the signage correct. This is the Hotel 3 entry point, the intersection. This is Juliet 1, which is the main holding point for 08 right. I've gone and taxied onto here many times. So there we are, looking down runway 08 right towards the northeast, just to give you a look at the layout of the airfield. And it's really impressive. Like I said, he's done a huge amount of work to make this airport look as good as it does. And it's got everything, even if some of the internal buildings basically haven't been developed. But for a Freeware project, this is incredible. We just come back a little bit. You can see the high intensity runway lighting system is there, just as it should be. So I just wanted to show you the southern perimeter road. What you can see is the massive staff car park there, where I used to park and many others. And as you go further east, you've got various buildings. The detention centre is here. This road has a fence line, which isn't in this scenery, unfortunately. Here's the radar tower. And the British Airways hangar. The detention centre, as far as I remember, is around here. I think it's called Brook House. Let's have a look at the BA hangar. So this is British Airways, known as Hangar 6. And again, it operates much the same way as the Virgin hangar does. Aircraft come in here at various times of the day for servicing and maintenance, and then they're towed back. A similar situation operates. This is airside, but it's not restricted, and we would have a vehicle here with one of our operators inside, and whenever they want to tow an aircraft back across the airfield, the tug and the tug drivers get searched. The plane is searched by British Airways itself, and we would carry out a search of the tug and tug drivers, making sure that they've been searched and the documentation is correct, and they then allowed to go across the runway under tower control. So again, looking down the eastern end of the field from the British Airways hangar there, you've got various car parks, one of which we would use somewhere down here when we were going to operate Southern Approach Security. Okay, just a quick look down runway 26 left from afar, just to give you an idea what you see on the approach. Those of you coming into the airport in real life and in the sim, this is what you'll see on the general approach. Runway 26 left is the preferred runway landing direction and takeoff, depending on the winds. So as you can see, you've got the runway lighting as required there. Just a pan across the airport. I just love the detail. He's done such a job. Okay, so let's have a look at the airport as it looks at dusk. See the lights come on, see what it looks like. Okay, here we are in the summer. It's 8:15 in the evening, and as you can see, the lights have come on and it's dusk. It's beautiful. Many airports, I've said this before and I'll say it again, many airports come to life in the darkness of the dusk hours when the lights come on. Gatwick is no exception, and the lighting is excellent. Everything that he's done to build this airport up in terms of reality, the lighting just makes it look better. And there you can see the Boeing hangars lit up there, and you've got the fuel farm, stand lighting, various bits of lighting there that make it look brilliant. So let's just have a little pan across the north terminal, south, heading south. Again, you can see the detail, the lighting's fine. I particularly like the way that sunset is, the windows are so free that you can see the sunset coming through on the other side there. And again, in the low lighting, sometimes any building errors or colour problems tend to show up in low light. But as you can see, he's done a marvellous job, and the lighting on the buildings is correct. And the interior lighting there, that green colour is pretty much very accurate in terms of the way this building looks. Very impressive. Just going across the rooftops there. You see cars there on top of the car park. And look at the detail there on top of that roof parking area. And there's our inter-terminal transfer train. Looking at the two hotels now, which is something I haven't done. So there you go, the Soffit Hotel. And there's the train station, goes into the North Terminal. And look, even the little signage here is lit up. And again, the ground detail here on the car park is just amazing. Everywhere you look, it just looks incredible. It is an extremely good project here, and it's not over yet. The guy has produced this update, and if you go on to flightsim.2 and have a look at it, you will see some of the details and things that he plans to offer as time goes on and as time moves along. I believe he's working on a Heathrow project as well. So just another look at the passenger bridge. As you can see, it's well lit, and they've even got the sort of like ultraviolet lighting that lights up the stanchions here on the bottom. This is all accurate as it should be. And again, you can see the reflections of the warning lights on the crossing, on the Keeler crossing here. Taxiway centerline lights are accurate, there's plenty of them, they're just as they should be, and that's fine. And here you can he's even included the works area, which as far as I know is still here, where they're working on extensions and concrete work to replace existing concrete. So looking west, you've got the Juliet taxiway here, it goes all the way down. There's the control tower, this is Romeo, and this is Quebec. And the Juliet taxiway takes you all the way down to 08 right. And here we are looking east, satellite terminal. Again, the stands are well lit. Here's the main pier. I think it's pier 2. I can never remember. And again, Juliet taxiway, Zulu taxiway, and the approach entry point there at Mike 1, which is the farthest point, entry to 26 left, displace threshold. Signage is all good, it's well lit. And again you can see the reflections for the crossing lights. All in all, it's fantastic. Let's go to night, let's just go to the night hours. So here's the same view, it's 9 PM, well after dark now, and you get a look at the lighting. Again, it's just stunning. You've got the flashing red lights of the taxiway crossings. All of the blue airfield boundary lights are correct, they're in their position. And the general lighting and ambience looks fantastic. Just wanted to show you the buildings and how they look at the night time with the way that they're lit. Very, very nice. And again, you can see the train there going into the station. Lighting's good. And looking south, got the Block Hotel there. And looking to the west, it's just really, really nice. Very impressed with it. So there's an overview, and the sun is well down now. It does look really, really, really nice. Very, very happy with this airport. For Freeware, it's fantastic. So let's go into dawn, have a last look at this. You can see the train is lit down there as well. Beautiful. So we go to dawn now. So 6 AM, sun's just about coming up. The lights are turned off almost. As you can see, it looks lovely, especially the way the sun glints on the buildings. Just looks really nice. So we'll bring the time up, bring the sun up a little bit more. So there you go, 45 minutes later, it's 6:45 in the morning, and the sun's nicely up. And it's just lovely. Here's the train coming in, and there's the inter-terminal transfer shuttle going along. It looks excellent. I've got nothing but praise for this product and the guy who's doing it. So as I said, the reason I wanted to review this is because I wanted to have a close look at the current available version, which is the latest version with all his additions, and because I fly out a bit regularly online with VATSIM and I used to work here, so I wanted to really think about doing something in terms of a decent review. And the other reason is there's another company who I won't name for the moment, and some of you may well know, are working on a Payware Gatwick release for Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020 that's due out very soon. It will be interesting to have a look at that project and compare it with this and my own experience of the airport I used to work in. So anyway, that kind of wraps it up for this review. I hope you've enjoyed it. This is a magnificent project. All kudos to the guy who's doing it, especially since he's pretty much on his own. Having worked here and driven around the airport, I've worked outside the terminals. My security department was responsible for everything outside of the terminals. So I know the airport layout pretty well, even though it's been nearly 2 years since I retired. So having worked here, he's done a great job. Okay, there's lots of things that aren't done that you might expect from a Payware product, or you might expect somebody to have a good go at. But he's done more than enough. The airport detail itself on the ramps and everything you need flying in and out of here is exemplary. He's done an amazing job. That's Payware quality. But the way he's produced this, everything right down to the blast screens here that are in the right places where the roads are. The inter-terminal shuttle, the trains, the two hangars, Virgin and the Boeing hangar, and the British Airways hangar, and the detail of course on the ramps that you've just seen, and right down to something I never expected here, the concrete wall that I've driven past many times. It's just a phenomenal project, and he's done a stunning job, and according to him, it's not finished yet. So for those of you among the 75,000 that have downloaded it, hope you enjoy this review. I know you probably know it well and fly out of it quite a lot, as I do. But I'm looking forward to seeing the Payware product when it comes out, to review it. And I've also offered my services to that organisation to see if they want to improve things or make changes. But I'm not saying anything further at the moment because it would be wrong to do so. What I will say is, if you want a preview of what they're doing, have a look at AvGeek. His channel, he released a preview, very short preview, which you can have a look at. So thank you very much for joining me. My name's Lee, virtual airline pilot, an ex-Gatwick external security officer. Had 11 years here at Gatwick. Lots of happy memories, amazing place to work. Hope you've enjoyed the review. I'm happy to read the comments below. I'm happy to respond to them too. I may have got a few things wrong. My memory is not the greatest in the world, but I love this place. And be aware also that I had 27 years at Heathrow before I went here. There was a 3-year gap between the two jobs. But there you go, fantastic product. Kudos to the guy who's developing it, and I can't wait to see what else he does. And also looking forward to the release of the new Payware scenery when it comes out. So thanks again for watching. Have a great time, and Lee is just saying goodbye for now.